Hey everybody, hope you're doing awesome today. We are Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. I'm here with my good friend and former RE/MAX partner over in Kentucky, Dianna Caldwell. And I wanted to talk to you today about your journey to eXp. So I appreciate you jumping in today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Todd.
Awesome. Well, you know, we've known each other for quite a while. We're in a mastermind together with other RE/MAX agents, and you know, we've met through the balloon. And you know, I just like to see people's journey from, you know, the former companies to see, you know, what was it that really jumped out at you that, you know, brought you over to eXp Realty, and how, you know, how your business has been. You know, you're, I believe, 90 days in.
Yeah, well, probably a little bit more than 90 days in.
Cool. So that's some good timing to talk, because it's like, what's the first, you know, 6 months look like, you know, as a transition? Because, you know, for myself, I was at RE/MAX for 18 years at my former brokerage. And there's always those hiccups. You always think about kind of what happens and what does the first part of the transition look like. But I want to start, like, how long have you been in the business itself?
So I've been in the business since the late 90s. I started as a broker's assistant at a RE/MAX in Nashville. And then I moved here to Northern Kentucky and joined RE/MAX affiliates here in 2002. So I've been in the business for a while, and I was only at one brokerage or one company.
So we have a similar journey. I started at RE/MAX. I was at one brokerage for 2 weeks, and the day was my floor time. I left and went to RE/MAX.
Oh, that's funny.
So, so you've been with the balloon as long as I have. So that was awesome. So what got you, like, you're running a team now?
Right.
What started the team model?
So I started my team in basically 2012 when I hired my first buyer's agent. I hired an assistant pretty early on, even as a single agent, just because you can't do it all. I couldn't do it all. And you know, I was producing and needed help. And then we brought in our first buyer's agent in 2012 and haven't looked back. So that's when we started our team. And, you know, slowly grew the team, but you know, ended up at eXp because we were really looking for a better place to bring a team that's more team friendly, that we could, you know, grow and just kind of be what we wanted to be. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And so, you know, what was let's kind of dive into the pain points, you know, 2 years ago, or not 2 years ago, but, you know, let's say 3 to 6 months ago. What really made you start looking at the model, you know, from the RE/MAX? Because I know you're in a different market where you're like right on the border of Kentucky and Ohio. So for me, being in Central Florida, I never think about selling across, you know, Georgia, South Carolina lines, or Alabama, wherever we'd be. How is it working the double states? How does it work with a general brokerage? Because I know it works a lot easier here.
Yeah, so that's a good point, because we're actually in 3 states. We're right here in the corner of Kentucky, Ohio, and Indiana. So we're licensed in all 3 states.
Okay.
So the advantage of being in eXp versus a RE/MAX is we don't pay more than, you know, we just pay our normal cap, because it's just one brokerage. It's not like you're going to pay a cap over here and a cap over there, or pay desk fees in 2 or 3 different states, which is basically what we were doing. Because our brokers weren't licensed in Indiana, we paid a fee over there, and then also paid referral fees for all of our deals over there. So for our agent who's licensed in Indiana, it really got to where it wasn't making sense for her to even sell homes in Indiana. Now it does, because she's, you know, it's the same thing as if she's selling in Kentucky. So that's a huge advantage if you're, you know, have 2 markets or 3 markets that you work in.
Well, I mean, I've got one of the other agents we were just talking about prior, you know, she's licensed in 2 states, and it's just the model makes sense for that, because I'm only paying one cost. I can imagine, you know, being a snowbird or having a second house somewhere and wanting to go sell real estate there. You can't join multiple companies. I don't think it makes sense, especially branding. If I'm at RE/MAX and Keller or something like that, in the other market, I can keep my stuff consistent and have the system, keep it consistent and keep the cost on the lower side.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, our branding's the same. And, you know, even when we came over, we didn't change our branding. we just swapped out the balloon for the eXp, and that was basically it. So that was nice. I mean, as far as a transition standpoint, to the public, we look the same.
Yeah.
And the public really doesn't care what brand you are. They do business with you because of you.
That was going to be a question I had, because I always thought, brand, does brand matter? And, I was always, hey, this is Todd with Remax. This is Todd with Remax. And, and there's power to a brand, but there's also power to your brand. And
correct. Yeah.
I asked a lot of my friends, I'm like, so do you guys care what company I'm with? No, we're calling Todd. We're not calling the office. We're calling you. And so, it's funny is people, I had messages that you're going to go out of business, you're going to do this and blah, blah, blah. And I can't believe you did that. They don't pay their agents. And, none of that was true. Our business excelled in 19 and excelled in 20. And we're on pace to, we're already at our 2020 numbers for the year, at June 1st, or sorry, July 1st. So how has the transition been for you for branding and the sales side?
Yeah, so same here. We're already past our goals, and we're going to do well this year for sure. We didn't miss a beat when we came over. We came over in March, early March, trying to beat the spring market, which we really didn't. I mean, what is it this year? It's been just like spring market all year round. So we came over in March, and honestly, the transition was a whole lot smoother than I thought it would be. There's a learning curve. You've got to learn the technology, and you've got to learn all the processes and all that sort of thing. And that's going to be no matter where you go. But making the move over was really easy. That was the easy part. And as far as our branding and stuff goes, we had all that ready to go before we made the move. So, we already had our signs and everything all ready to go. And that would be a suggestion I would make for anyone, is have your marketing ready. So our transition was pretty smooth. So the only thing that we got stuck on a little bit was we were renting office space for our team, because we're a team of 9 or 10 now, and our office wasn't ready. So the landlords that we have let us kind of crash in another office space. So we sort of just crashed in this little office space, but it all worked out fine, and we're settled now, and it's all good.
At least you guys had a landlord that was cooperative with that. I laugh on our side because I always try to figure out, I'm a guy who wants to go to work. So when I learned about the company being virtual, my big questions are, where do I go to work? And they never presented to me when I first heard about the company in 17 or started looking at it, that you can, have a brick and mortar. They say, oh, well, Regis is down the street. You can go to Regis and have a space there. I'm like, no, I like an office space. I've got, at the time, 5 people, now 15 or 20. We need an office to go to, and I don't want to work at home.
I'm with you.
So we spent a lot of time trying to figure out what we're going to do for office space before we even signed up or made the move. And then let's just jump all in. We'll go home and work for a little bit if we need to, as we figure the office space out. And the funny thing is, I'm in the same room now as I was 4 years ago as a Remax agent, because he
really
the office, because he had 2 offices, so he just merged them. He said, well, you're the only one using the space, so you can have it. Take over the lease and continue to pay it. And so the only thing that's different is the view, because my desk got turned around because we changed some of the furniture. But we just took over the Remax space. So it was kind of cool taking the Remax sign down, putting the eXp sign up, and having the storefront. And it's a nice tool because I have a place I can meet my clients and, and just to have a spot to go to. And, we've got to get out of the house, and my staff wants to get out of the team, wants to have somewhere to go to as well. So what are, if you're thinking about making a move, what are some of the things that, pain points that you tried to work through, or that could come up, for people that are considering something like this?
Well, I think if you've got a team, and if you're a team leader, what are the things that you're most concerned about your team, and are they going to be on board, and what's their take on it, and are you willing to make that move without them if they decide not to come with you? So that was my biggest, probably not really hurdle, but my biggest concern for sure. And I just wanted to make sure that no matter what with our move, it was going to be good for them individually, that, you know, they were going to be made whole as far as commissions and all of that goes. And that they were going to benefit from the benefits of being at eXp, which is the healthcare, the stock, the rev share, you know, all the different things that we have as benefits for being here at the company. So I did a ton of research on the front end and fretted over it. And, you know, and a lot of it was just my loyalty. I was loyal to the brand that I was at. I was loyal to my brokers and to my company, and truly loved where I was. It wasn't really about that. It was about more of the opportunities that we had at eXp. So I presented it to my team and basically told them, hey, poke some holes in it, you know, look into it yourselves. I want you to do your own research on it, and then come back and tell me why we shouldn't do it, you know?
Yeah.
So, and they were all ready to go. In fact, a couple of them, I tease them that they kind of pushed us over the cliff before we were probably ready to, because they were like, spring market's coming. Come on, we got to make the move. We got to go. So,
Right. That's funny.
But yeah, we haven't looked back since.
So what was your team like before you moved to what it is today?
So before we made the move, there were 5 agents, including me. We have a licensed contract manager and then a marketing listings manager. So there were 7 of us. Today we have 7 agents. And same contract manager, same marketing manager, and then we've got a great intern this summer. So there's 10 of us now.
Cool. So you've been able to grow, and the beauty of the growth is that I'm not paying, you know, a couple $100 a month per agent. And if they don't work out, I'm out that money. You know, it's
right.
You know, and I've put you know, before at Remax, I was paying that money because I thought it was a lot, and I wanted the agents to, you know, just concentrate on selling. And now I'm having the agents pay the $85, and if they don't want to pay it, they're really not meant to be.
Yeah, exactly. And for you obviously had a much better deal. Mine was more than a couple $100 a month. It was quite a bit. So
we're talking per agent. So,
oh yeah, no,
yeah.
I'm talking per agent too.
Oh,
but, yeah.
But as you sit and look at the numbers, and like I'm sitting here, like, you know, for just the office space alone, you know, it's $800 a room plus, you know, whatever it is, you know, it just figured the 6-figure savings on it.
Yeah.
And it allows us to grow larger, not be like, okay, cool. Now if I bring on 10 agents, I'm $4,000 a month on those 10. And then, you know, it's 3 months before they sell the house. Now I'm out 12 grand, you know, plus the market and everything else. So it allows for especially for larger scale teams to definitely, you know, rein in a lot of that money. Because I'd rather put the 6 figures back into marketing and build the business bigger, you know, that we've got sitting
absolutely there. Yeah, absolutely.
So what were some of the questions your team had? I mean, I know, were they concerned? I mean, were you concerned like the commissions weren't going to be the same, or did you look at all that before they switched?
Yeah, I looked at all that. Gosh, I can't even tell you 50 different ways, you know, because like I said, my biggest goal was to make sure they were whole. And I knew that was going to be their biggest question is, how are the commissions going to work? And am I going to make as much money selling the same amount of houses? And we were absolutely able to make that work. So, you know, that was really the only concern they had. I mean, they liked the other benefits. One of our team members, in fact, 2 of them now, are going to benefit from the healthcare for sure, which is a great. That's actually one of the first things I noticed about eXp was the healthcare, and that's going to benefit a couple of our agents. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, no, it's nice to feel it's something, another tool you can use to help provide, you know, to them. You know, when I moved, I was we only had 2 agents at the time. One of them didn't want to move because of the monthly, which was kind of comical.
Yeah.
But the other one, a long-term agent of mine, you know, she's still with me, and it was like, okay, so you make, you know, this is what you made last year. This is what you're going to make. You know, if with the numbers the way they look, will you make the same if you sold the same amount of real estate? And I think we were off by like 2 or 3 grand to the negative, which not a big impact. If it's 20 grand, different story. So fine, let's figure out how to make one more sale inside of that scenario to cover that $2 or $3 grand that loss is going to be there.
Yeah.
But, it's just balancing out the numbers to make sure it's going to work and all the little details that are there.
Yeah.
How is it working with having your own office and stuff? Do you guys enjoy that, or do you miss being around people, or does the team kind of give that camaraderie?
Yeah, I mean, our team loves to be in the office. We're in every day. And we were at our other office, but we kind of were on our own end of the building. We were kind of out there on our own anyway. So, having our own office is great. That's actually how I found eXp. I really was just looking for office space. That's kind of what started it. Now, I started looking for office space, and then I thought, well, maybe I'll get my broker's license and be our own broker. Well, I went and took the classes, and I'm like, I don't want to be a broker. I don't want any part of that. That's just not what I want to do. So anyway, that was a lot of wasted time. But so that's sort of how we found eXp. I started doing some research, and just through different people that I knew, from different, our mastermind group. I knew you had went over, and through the coaching company that I work with, several other team leaders had been taking their teams over the last few months. And I just started calling and asking questions and doing research online, and, decided, this is something I really need to look into, because we can go and have our own office if we want that. We can be our own brand, basically, and still do the business that we've always done. So it was just like the perfect scenario for us.
No, it's you and I have a very similar story, because I was going to go independent after we looked at we need to change our branding. I ordered the broker books, and I said, okay, fine, I'll get my broker's license so we can go off on our own. Got them in the mail. Realized I can't read that much, and I don't want to spend 72 hours in class, and I also don't want the liability, and responsibility of it. So we then pivoted and said, okay, let's look at this model. And it was also tied into a friend of mine who said, hey, I'm moving to eXp, and I'm like, all right, let's start looking at it. And it came into, let's go to a mastermind about it, because there was one in Key West literally like 3 weeks later with Kinder and Reese, and dove into a lot of questions I had a little black book. I wrote like a sentence, empty space, sentence, empty space, and probably 30 pages of questions, and got back home, watched a ton of YouTube videos about just Googling everything eXp that I can, so I can understand, because like you, I was at the brand my entire career, and so it's what does a switch look like? And so let's talk about the research that you did. You said you went 50 ways to Sunday to find things about it. Let's talk about 4 or 5 of those types of research.
Yeah, I really did want to find a reason not to do it. I wanted to, because like I said, I was loyal to the brand that I was at. And, I wanted to find something negative. That you and I were talking before about, there wasn't a whole lot of eXp in my area. Yeah. So I didn't have one opinion one way or another about it, which I think was helpful. Yeah. So like you, I just started Googling things. I started watching YouTube videos. I started reaching out to people that I knew about the brand and asking them questions. I started looking into the people in my coaching group that had went over to eXp. And what I was seeing was a lot of the agents that were going over at that time were RE/MAX team leaders. And that's really what got my attention, because I'm like, well, these are awfully smart, very high producing agents. What do they know that I don't know? So I just started asking questions. I talked to my coach about it, and she kind of just led me in the right direction. And I'm here today. So, and wish, I really didn't even know what eXp was before January, even though I knew you went over a couple of years ago and we were in the same mastermind group. You were so respectful about everything. I never really even knew what it was and why you went. So, you were the first one I knew.
Yeah, we're not the ones that are out there like screaming it, from the top of our lungs,
right?
Because we're out there selling real estate, And,
Yeah.
I'm here for business reasons, not for other reasons. And, I didn't care about the revenue share. I didn't care about the stock. The 6 figures a year that I save in expenses is what I cared about. And
which is why I came over. It had nothing to do with the rest of it. I mean, the healthcare obviously was a huge thing for my team, but the rest of it was just, that's fine.
It's an added benefit. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And we, because I could take the 6 figures that we're saving and go buy stock and go buy, and create cash flow with it, doing something else. But, now those are just two nice things that we have. The cap, because we're going to sell 30 homes this year and become an Icon agent, it goes back into my stock account. I unfortunately feel bad for my friends that have become icons in January when the stock is really high. But you get it low, watch it go up. But we're a very similar story, so it's kind of cool having this conversation with you, because we've never really talked in depth about like why the move, what was all the research that was done, and what were the pain points. And in Orlando, we didn't have a lot of agents here either. And, in the market, I just saw it as a new company, another one of those new trends trying to come out, and realizing the new trend is the new brand that's out there. 55,000 agents in the company, and there's over 5,000 in Florida. I think 10%, probably 20 to 30% of those are in the Orlando market.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
We're a force to be reckoned with here. It's because the right people made moves at the same time, so it became a lot of noise. And you'll see that happen in your market as well. It takes 1 to take 2 to take 4 to take 8, and you'll start to see a lot of movement. So it's definitely something to dive into, especially, and it makes it easier building a team, because there's more to recruit to versus here, just come sell houses. No, but here's like all these tools that you can use.
It's a business. I mean, team members can build their own team. So
I just had one of my team members who, after 2 years, decided, hey, you know what? It's time for me to go, spread my wings, go on my own. What did he do? He didn't leave the company. He left the team, and now we're working on a transition plan to help him build his own model, and still be business partners. Versus, and there's no animosity where in other companies, like, oh God, he's still at the company. You don't have that here, because everyone's trying to help each other.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So, where do you see yourself, like the coaching and training that you have going on with your business itself? What are you with Tom Ferry, I think it was?
Yeah, Tom Ferry.
What are you gaining out of coaching? I'm just going to switch the subject a little bit and kind of talk about the business side of things.
Yeah. I've been in coaching really since 2009.
Okay.
And so I'm a huge fan of coaching. I feel like, it's accountability, and it's ideas and masterminding and all that kind of stuff. But for me, the coaching is also, it's motivational. It's your tribe too, because, when you're in a coaching program or a coaching group, and you all spend time together, either in masterminds or at events and different things like that, you're attracted to people who are like you, they're like-minded. And so just working on different projects together, or, throwing ideas back and forth with each other, you end up just hanging out and talking to people who value the same things that you do. So for me, I think coaching is major for us.
Yeah,
and our team, we do the team coaching.
Okay, and I love that, because I think the team needs it as well as the team leader, because we can only take back so much. I think it's great having the team involved in it. I've been in coaching, the same thing, probably since 2010. I've had probably 3 coaches, but one of them was for 8 years, and I'm still coach with them on a different basis. But it's really cool, because you make some good connections. It's like going to the conferences; you get a lot of referrals out of them.
Yeah,
and
you do. I just talked to one this morning that I got a referral from. Yeah, so.
But it's like our mastermind group that we're in. It came from stemming from going to an event and leaders wanting to help other leaders, grow their businesses. Nobody's a competitor. We're all leaders, in different markets.
Right.
And where do we go when we need a referral source? To our small group of people. Then we expand out.
Yeah, absolutely, and it works beautifully, doesn't it?
It
So,
does.
Yeah.
The connection there. We can all be the cheer squad for it. So where do
Yeah.
you see yourself with your team, let's say 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now?
Yeah. So, our team's still growing. I don't really know exactly how far we're going to grow or even what we want to do with that. It's kind of like a whole new world's opened up. The biggest thing for us and our team is just adding the right people. We are hiring to our culture, and we want people that are in the right seats on the bus and that belong with this group of people. And I think that's important for anybody starting a team or running a team, is making sure that you hire to your values and your own culture,
Right.
For me, I have my son's in the business, and then I've got other team members that's been with me for a while. I want this team to be about them too, and what they want for the future and how they want to build their careers going forward. For instance, we've got one team member who really wants to work on building her own team and downline in getting a little bit more out of the buyer side of production. And she can absolutely do that with this model, whereas it would have been hard at another model. So, just them partnering with each other a little bit, her being able to partner with another agent on the team on different deals and with different buyers and sellers has worked out well for her. So, we'll see what happens, but definitely I want to build the team to where, they can all stay if they want to, or if they've got other things that they want to go and do, I'm their biggest cheerleader when they do that.
Right. And the model helps if they do have, some systems in place. They can see some residual from the way they've built things around them, which definitely works.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
what's one thing as we wrap up that you haven't shared with everybody yet that we can kind of pick your brain on?
Yeah, I think that, if you're just even curious, reach out and talk to somebody, because I think I didn't know enough about it to even be curious. Like I said, this kind of all started with me looking for office space, and it just kind of snowballed from there. Um, but yeah, I would say, just if you're curious about the business, and I think a lot of it too is it's new and people don't know what to do with it or think about it. But it's no different than, say, when Remax was new, 50 years ago or whatever it was. They kind of took the business by storm. They were the ones that were the disruptor at the time. And then after that, Keller Williams came on the scene, and they were the disruptor. And I remember here in our area when there was no Keller Williams, we didn't even know what Keller Williams was. And all of a sudden we start seeing these signs pop up, and we're like, what the heck? Who is Keller Williams? So, and now you can't drive down a street in our area that you don't see a Keller Williams sign. So,
Right.
it's going to be the same way here.
And it is a disruptor to the industry, which is great, because it's like it kind of shakes things up a little bit and makes you have an open mind, where I was always tunnel vision. When I actually interviewed with Keller Williams back in 2003, and I was like, they never pitched real estate at the time to me. They just pitched like the recruiting, and I've never been pitched on eXp as Go Recruit. It's like, how can we help you sell more? And I didn't leave the Remax at the time, because I wanted to just sell real estate. I'm not,
Right.
I just want to be an agent and sell houses. And that's all they concentrated on, was the 7 levels. And I'm like, let's talk about selling. Let's not talk about this. And so here, none of it's ever been pushed about the recruit side.
It's not, and 96% of agents don't even do it at eXp, and I think that's great. I mean, and at eXp too, you can start out as a very experienced, seasoned agent and do what you want to do, or if you're a newer agent and you need the training, there's so much training. I'm overwhelmed by all the training that they have, and I think that's not talked about enough, really.
No, and there's a couple of coaches that are in the system that have provided value back to us as well. Like our partners, Jake and Michael Reese, have created a couple of their designation programs that we now have access to. Workman has a program in there that's provided to us, for training for the buyer's agents and listing agents. Minimal, very, very minimal cost, like dollars a month and or free, provided back out. And there's a lot of other coaching companies who have brought their entire companies into the model and are providing
Yeah.
value back to us and just giving back. And normally you wouldn't find that. You want my program? It's $9.99.
Yeah.
And you can have lifetime access, whatever. Oh, wait, now I'm over here. Cool. Now I found the value of where people see my value, and we'll go ahead and shoot them the information. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
well, Dianna, I appreciate you jumping on. It's an awesome journey. I'm glad to be part of it and just see how your growth's going and really just, the 90 days in or 120 days in, taking this by storm, and to learn that there's no interruptions in the business. You're selling more real estate. It's an easy transition. People, when they switch brokerages, they think it's a lot of bumps in the road, and it's not. If you can manage it and have the right and have the right timing set up, I think it's a great move for a lot of people. If they just talk through it versus, no, I got to order new signs. It's going to cost me money. But what about the savings you're going to have? What about the connectors you're going to be with and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. All it takes is a spreadsheet, and it's like, whoa, that's what it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what it came down to, was a yellow pad and put it on a spreadsheet and realizing, oh my God, I really spend that much and I can really save that much. Let's do it.
Yeah. Let's do it. Yeah. Well, I'm glad I'm doing it with you, Todd.
Yep. I appreciate it.
We're
looking forward to the journey. We'll talk to you soon. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.